now unbound captive. Thank you for your help. May I ask who you are?
Oh yeah, I forgot there's this guy here. I'm not reading the book and ignoring people. I'm gonna go over and talk to him then once Rogue's been bound.
And kicked in the nuts.
Kick in the nuts.
Say, my name is Caldric. I was on my way to Highford when I was captured.
On his way to where?
Highford. Yep.
I am Father Crow with the Hillfort Priory. This is him and Palm.
I'm like, nice to meet you. What were you going to the town for?
The Baron had hired me. He was looking for a new court wizard.
Oh. So, I'm sure... How did you get caught by these ruffians?
On my way here, or on my way to Highford, rather, I was caught unaware by a group of them as they were, from the looks of it, moving their camp. 6 of them, 1 of me. I was unaware, reading my books. They got the better of me. Don't know how long I've been with them since then. Knocked me out, bound me, gagged me and blindfolded me.
Well, you're free to go now, so I think we can handle this from here.
We will be heading back to Highford as well, if you'd like to come with us.
So that would be most appreciated. And he will walk over to one of the carts, the one that has the books and the supplies, and begin rummaging through, looking for something.
Are you looking for something?
The stuff I had on me when I was captured.
And I'm gonna hold up the book that Rogue had dropped, and I'm like, "Is this yours?"
He will look at it and he'll say, "That is one of my books, yes."
And since if I know anything about wizards, I know that you don't touch your spell books, so I immediately go over and hand it to him, and I walk away.
He will flip through it and make sure everything's in order, and then he will close it, and he will eventually pull out a satchel and a staff, and a small pouch filled with several clinking together objects of a metal nature. And he will open the small pouch and begin donning rings.
Looks at Palm. How are you feeling now?
I'm just glaring at Rogue.
Alright, so... Again, I'm going to... Rogue is still awake.
Yes, he is. It looks like whatever Caldric had done to him is beginning to wear off.
Okay.
As he's beginning to show signs of great amounts of pain.
He better be.
Look at Father Crow, and I'm like, is it too late for the other guy? And like, I motion to this guy here. I'm like, is he still alive?
So I'll do a perception check to see if he's still breathing.
Very barely.
And I'll place my healing arts to keep him from dying at least.
Okay. You can stabilize him, and he will eventually recover. It looks like he will never recover to the fullest extent of his abilities. It looks like he has suffered some potentially long-term injuries.
Okay, I sigh a little, sigh of relief, and I look at Palm, and I'm like, stop kicking Roge, go bind that other guy.
Fine. So I go over and I bind that other guy, and I make sure the binds are very secure.
And then I'm going to look at Roge, put on a smile, and I'm like, so, tell me, where were you headed?
Would you be able to change the bound captive to his current name?
Yes, I can. Whoops, that's a C, not an S. You were talking to Rouge,
Yeah.
and I'm assuming that's diplomacy.
Yeah.
In response to your question, he spits out some blood and a tooth.
Like, don't do that. Don't be like that. So, it's like, alright, good cop, bad cop. And I just nod at Palm, and I have to go look at something over here.
So examining the barrels, do we see that it's also full of the same dragon's fire?
Yes. All 14 barrels are Dragon's Fire.
I would look over at him and I'd be like, what am I supposed to ask him?
Just see if you can convince him to talk.
Okay. I start kicking him in the knee. Not like repeatedly, but I do kick him very hard in the knee.
Caldric will step over and say, I have a way with words and questions, if you would like.
I
Alright.
perk up and I'm like, go on, and I slowly work my way back.
I'd look at Roche and I would show him my very large collection of syringes that I keep on me of various types for various reasons. And if he doesn't answer Caldric's questions with complete honesty, I will personally experiment on his physical person with these syringes.
This might be the first case of a phobia of needles in this world.
I believe Caldric would probably just use charm person and make him tell us.
But
You
this
have,
is much more entertaining.
you have hit the nail on the head. He will walk over to Rouge and put his hand on his shoulder. Say something, and you notice the 4 rings he has on his left hand, the hand he is making contact with, glow momentarily. And Rouge seems to be a much more calm and reasonable person now.
So I'm gonna again look at him and nod to Caldric. And I'm like, so, would you like to tell me where you're headed and where the rest of your party is? And again, diplomacy.
We were
Nice.
we were headed to this place. It's called Hargion. It's a ruined city off to the east. I'll say, as for the rest of the party, there were... And he will finally look back and see the 3 bound captives and say, well, I'm assuming you've met the rear guard, the last group to leave. There was myself, and there was another small group that went ahead. They went on foot, and we don't actually know what happened to them. But we were heading to Hargion. I don't actually... While Hargion is on the map, I will actually send it in group chat to see how it's spelled.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Sounds like a kind of cheese.
If they made cheese there, they do not make it in there anymore.
I'm gonna continue questioning him. I want to ask him why they are picking up attacks across the countryside. Why they decided to attack the envoy.
He will laugh at that first question and say, "You think we're the biggest group of bandits? You think we're the ones in charge of everything across the nation?" No.
Well, you're in charge of the area right now.
Yeah, we control maybe 3 days worth of travel outside of Highford in any direction. It's not far at all. It's almost half a month from Highford to Speggrove. It's about the same from Highford to Estminster. We only control about 3 days worth of travel. We were heading off to Hargion to meet with a seller of some weapons.
And what's the seller's name?
Only Devlin knew that.
Ah,
Or only Devlin knows that. I don't know. I'm never good with telling whether they're dead or not. You can tell that Roge, while he kind of respects Devlin, doesn't honestly care for him much. Especially with that last comment of, I don't really care whether he's dead or not, effectively.
Or at least you can't tell if he's dead or not.
Yeah.
I forget what I was gonna say.
And did this weapon seller in question have a symbol of an eagle with his head pointing to the left and a wing tucked under?
He will shrug as best he can, given his injuries and his binding. I'll say, we didn't ask too many questions. At least Devlin didn't. Just wanted some weapons. The guy said he had some interesting stuff, some stuff that would be revolutionary to the art of war. He said it would be like the next crossbow, or the next bow, even.
So I'm just gonna like raise my eyebrow at Palm because this is more her field than anything else. And then I'm gonna, well, while he's still being nice and charmed, let's go tie him up to the wagon with the others.
What is everyone's passive perception?
I don't like that question.
And insight.
That's pretty high.
I know how to instill fear into my players sometimes.
My
My
passive
passive
perception.
perception is 20.
I see.
My
What?
passive insight is 20.
What?
And my passive perception is 15.
What?
My,
I typed mine in the chat.
Uh,
Oh,
they
I should have dumped wisdom.
in regards to that line of questions, Palm and Crow, you do both notice that Caldric's, while he wears 4 rings on his left hand, he wears a single ring on his right hand, and it's got 2 unusual characteristics about it. The first is that the actual ring itself and the setting are both made out of white gold, which is a very expensive luxury metal. You can make normal gold, but making white gold is a very expensive, very difficult process currently. Basically, him having that is a sign of his wealth. But the other strange thing about the ring is the gem set in it. It is perfectly spherical, and it's split down the half. Each hemisphere is a different color. One is blue and the other is a dark red. It appears to be almost constantly in motion.
You did it.
I don't know.
You haven't.
Why do I feel like I've heard of this
You're
before?
you're not going here. You're going here.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's just an interesting gem.
I'm going to put duct tape on your face while you sleep and rip your beard out.
Well, I have been meaning to shave it and trim it down some.
Well,
So-
Palm would indeed notice the ring, but given the interrogation situation at the moment, she wouldn't particularly feel inclined to ask about that just yet until they were done with Roche.
As for the insight, Crow, something he said did dawn on you as a bit odd. He did make the comment of, "You think we're the ones in charge of the thing in the country? Yeah, the attacks across the country." He knows some amount of what's going on with the attacks across the country. At least some amount of it, or some amount of knowledge of it.
Did he eye Caldric at all when he said that?
No, he didn't. He did, but that's because he has an uncanny fascination with Caldric as a side effect from the spell. It wasn't any sort of, implication or anything. It was just, I kind of have to look at him because he's compelling me to answer these questions. So he does potentially know something about the bandit attacks across the nation.
Who, Caldric or Roche?
Roge.
So Father Crow would look at Rouge and say, "Go on. You spoke of knowing more about the overall bandit rates. Who is the one controlling these operations?"
He will shrug again as best he can at that question, and he'll say, "I don't know if anyone's in charge, but there are 5 other big groups of bandits that we know of, stationed across the country. Maybe more, maybe a few less. Might be some infighting going on, but the 5 other big ones, they're settled about through the country, and they're starting to get pretty profitable." Don't know their names exactly. Just heard of them. Some of them are in it for what people might argue the right reasons. Others are in it just for the money.
And of this group of bandits, then he would gesture towards the symbol. I'm guessing he has the red dagger on his arm.
Yes, he does.
How many more of your kind are around you?
He will shake his head a little bit and say, "Never too good with numbers. Maybe 10 other people."
That's divided between the camps on all 4 sides of Hillfort?
Well, they would have been, but they had helped us pick up everything and move, and they were the first ones heading to Hargione. They were going to be the scouts. Figure we won't show up in the right time, and they'll eventually disband or pick a new leader.
Mom would look very annoyed. Frustrated.
Well, we've had quite an adventure as it is. I think it's best we take these ruffians back to town. Let them face the law for what they've done.
I agree.
Agreed.
So, I think we should tie them all back up to the wagon. We should probably try to get all the wagons back, all the barrels and everything like that. And keep Roge and Devlin alive.
Yeah, I'll take care of those, keeping them healthy. As for the barrels, we wouldn't be able to fit them all in one wagon since we only have Carl.
Yeah,
So
the previous 4 horses that had been drawing them have been completely spooked and are, for all intents and purposes, gone.
So it's best for Palm to just restock on what she needs, and then we can just destroy the rest.
Yeah.
You're about 2 days' travel outside of Highford at this point, so while you could bring all of it back, it would be potentially risky. Someone might be able to come across it in that time and use it for ill gains.
Alright, I guess we'll just blow it up.
Well, it's not damage to the road.
No, we'll move
Let's
it
just
off to
dampen
the...
it and bury it somewhere.
said bury it?
Yeah, let's put water on it again to ruin it, and then just bury it somewhere.
Okay. We'll do that then.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and start opening them up and pouring water into them and
Okay.
I'll move Devlin and Roche to the wagon and everything, have them secured on the back of it. We'll move off the rest of the barrels that we were using to hide people in, so they can make room for Palm and Pim, and Caldric to ride up front with me.
Okay. You can secure everyone. You can fairly easily get everything you need into the carts. Caldric will give one more look over the pile of books and such in the one cart and pull out a few more and throw them into his satchel. This does take up about the rest of the day to secure everything, bury the barrels, dampen them, and all that.
Alright. We should probably make camp here then for the night. Travel in the morning.
How far away was that bandit camp that we just came from?
It's about a half day's travel. So in all, you're a day and a half to 2 days, probably closer to 2 days, given that you have people to bring back with you.
So okay, we could set up camp right here.
I think right here is a good spot for setting up a campfire. We can help use the trees for some cover. We can put the wagons in a circle around that area. Heck, we can even use one of the wagons as fire or fuel for the fire for tonight.
Yep, we can even use a bit of the gunpowder to light it. Just a small amount.
You can fairly easily get a good fire going. Devlin is out of commission for a very long period of time, so he's out. Roge is sort of mentally checked out, and the remaining ruffians and other ne'er-do-wells that you have are very, very depressed and down in spirits. They know what's going to await them.
We can take turns then on watch.
I'll watch first, so I could keep watch over Devlin, make sure he's stable.
Alright. I'll take middle watch then.
That's not going fast.
Actually, Caldric will volunteer for last watch.
I don't trust you.
Yeah, I think Palm will do watch with him then.
Yeah, me and Caldric are gonna have a nice little chat during my watch.
I figure while we have supper and everything, we have that chat. Because I have a few questions for him also. And I'll hand out some of my rations to all the bandits that are still alive.
Well, compromise with me here. I mean, you can question him on your watch, or I can question him on my watch. He has to sleep eventually, and so do we.
I just mean while we're setting up camp and everything, we're gonna be around the fire eating some rations for the night and tending to whatever wounds we still have left. So, I mean, we're still gonna be awake for a little while before we turn in and start guarding. So we can at least have a group chat around the fire.
That's fine. I'm not sitting next to him, though, and I wouldn't advise letting him touch you. And I glare at him.
I may have just sent you a message, Dave. I don't know. Skype is locked up on me.
I got it.
Okay.
Okay, so while we're all around the fire and everything, setting up for the night, I guess all of us are just sitting around the fire eating rations. I strike up a conversation with Caldric. I turn to him and ask, "So, I see why you go into Hillfort, but Where did you come from?
So, well, I was previously in Orland. I was actually in the capital, Orland, but I was born. I was born down in south of here, a town called Swindmore. Spent some time traveling, learned my trades. Eventually made it to Orland, and was contacted there by the Baron, or one of his heralds, I suppose. They were looking for a wizard, and I had some amount of local clout and reputation going for me, I suppose. I've solved a few problems that were going on. Apparently, helped fix up some stuff down or near the Ketten-Wiesdorf border. Helped some folks out there fix a problem that was going on. So, he called on for hiring me. Figured that's steady pay. It's more than likely safer than my current escapades, and it's roof over my head every night, a place to study, place to do my research, and hot meals whenever they serve them.
I noticed that you have magical rings. Well, magical, I'm guessing, rings that you were anxious to acquire once this ordeal was over with. Did the band steal anything from you? Or did you gather all your possessions back?
He'll shake his head. I managed to get everything back of importance. The rings themselves are not truly magical. They have inscriptions on them to allow me to use them as a focus, to allow me to better draw upon my magics and powers such as that. But they were also a gift from a mentor.
I would kind of, like, my thumb would rub against the symbol of Palor that I wear around my neck and the prayer beads, just like kind of nodding and understanding. I would look over at Palm, who I'm guessing by now is like eyeing that one ring of his.
Oh yeah, she's been giving him the hairy ball this whole time.
And what's Pim up to?
Pim is eyeing up the wizard, but he's not really sure what to take of it. He's obviously a powerful wizard. He basically radiates magic in every way, shape, and form, but he doesn't quite trust him either, because powerful wizards don't just get captured by a couple thugs.
Not usually, anyway. You think he was posing as a captive?
Say that again?
You think he was posing as a captive?
Quite possibly.
I would look at Roge and I would ask him if there was any reason why he wouldn't be welcome in the city that they were heading to.
The wizard? Or...
like, not him personally, why Caldric, like if there was any reason why he wouldn't be allowed in the city, or how he got captured, like why was he a captive?
He'll shrug about the, not being let into the city, but he'll say it's a ruined city. Anyone who can survive getting in is welcome there, I suppose. Well, we captured him.
How did you get captured?
Well, there were 6 of us, and he was off in his own little world, reading a book or something. This wizard's sometimes are pretty spacey. Didn't notice it until we had our swords drawn on him. Or maces. Some of us had maces.
Like, I just give him that the whole, you're pathetic look.
So, who is your mentor? Turning back towards Talbot.
You will, he'll smile, sort of, half sadly. I'll say, he was, a man named Eglier. And, unfortunately passed on.
So I don't know sadly anything about that. Anyone else?
History. Hold on. Ooh.
Hold on. Now I have to find something in the notes. Or in the
I
chat.
got a 23 on my history check.
Did I ever send this?
On the bookworm.
Did send it. You didn't even have to roll a history check. Well, it kind of helps. You are somewhat familiar with the name. There have been a few people who have had the name, but there's one person in particular who had that name, or at least one that Pim remembers.
Go Pim or Pom?
Pim.
Okay. What's the name?
Elgir. Eglir. Eglier.
Wait. Did you already give me
Eglier,
this name?
yeah. Eglier.
What was that, Dave?
You give me this name before somewhere?
Yes, I did.
You did.
You can search through Skype chat to see if you can find it again.
I found it.
Hmm.
You didn't give any. You just put in those names.
Wait. Oh, no, there's some context to it. It was, someone important to your family. You know. Like a father figure. Or a father. That was your father's name. Eglier.
Oh.
And that was
Oh.
this guy's mentor?
Yep.
Hold on 1 second.
And Palm, being that she reads a lot, would she have found any kind of historical text on her father while she was digging around?
Not really. There's mentions of, you know, a wizard named Eglier, a few other people heard the name, one or two minor knights, a minor noble, a non-landed noble.
Who still believes that her parents are alive and well. She's been in denial about their deaths for her entire life. So
Alright, I'm back. Sorry.
when he says Eglier, I mean, she would look at him just gassed and flabbered, you know, found it dumb. Like, what?
So. Oh, sorry. I was dealing with something. What did you. How did this come up?
Apparently, Eglier, our father, Pen and Tom's father, was this man's mentor,
Which man? The.
Aldrich.
Caldric. I kind of just look at him dumbfounded, and I'm like, what? When was this? How long ago was
Yeah.
this?
The Palm would really press him for information now, like, you know, where is he? Like, do you know where your mentor is now? What is he doing? What has he been doing?
He will laugh somewhat depressedly and say, well, for the past 70 years, maybe a little bit more, he's been buried. Passed away at some point.
What?
I'm just gonna like raise an eyebrow, Because
This man doesn't look a day over 20?
no,
No.
because our parents died 75 years ago, not 70 years ago.
True facts. I can hear the smoke grinding out of Lion's ears.
Yeah.
No.
I think it's what he meant.
No. He said what he meant. He said what he remembered.
So, that means... Wait. If what you say is true, that means that our parents somehow survived that attack. And I would look at him, say, when we went and hid, as Mother asked us to, they must have gotten away somehow. Which means our father's trapped somewhere, if he's telling the truth.
Well, no, he said he's been buried.
Maybe he's just stuck. I would just give him that, little sister look I would have given him my entire life. Like, please, we need to go investigate this.
Yeah.
From what I understand, it just means that he survived 5 years longer than we guys originally thought.
That's what I mean. He survived the attack, obviously, if this fate didn't befall him 5 years later.
Yeah, so I kind of just look at him and I'm kind of like trying to just block out Palm right now because Palm's being Palm and Pim can't handle Palm. I'm like, I look at him like, you're obviously not one of the long-lived races. How about you level with us?
You should turn
Like-
to Crow and say, like, no offense.
Yeah. It's like, you've obviously been around a while, but 70 years, 75 years, that's a big difference. I need you to be very clear about which it was, and when the last time you saw him was.
He'll sort of, inhale and look up at the sky and sort of give that I'm really thinking about this look, and he'll say, last I actually saw him 80 years ago would have been my my day of graduation, effectively. Just the last time I saw him, received 1 or 2 letters from him, but they stopped, and I couldn't track down much on him. It's been gone for a while. Yeah, there's years. They start adding up very quickly, and 70 years becomes the same thing as 75. 75 becomes the same thing as 80. It's all long, long way in the past.
So, alright. So I'm just gonna look at him like, how old are you?
Actually, that's a good question. How old is he?
I'm going to say 120.
He's so old, he's forgotten how old he was. You are relatively close with 120. He is, let's see, graduated at 80 years ago, which would make him, he's about 96. Give or take a year that he may have forgotten.
I just kind of like blink at him, and I'm like, you're older than me. What?
Damn, he graduated wizard school at 16.
Mm-hmm. That was an apprenticeship. It wasn't like official schooling.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, that's pretty impressive.
I'd look at him and just be like, I hate you. You confuse me. I don't like you.
Where was their father buried?
Okay, well, I'll say I never could find that. His last letter had been addressed from a town called Distone, but after that I
That's
just
where we're going.
sort of lost track of him after that.
So
I look
you
at
last-
Pen. We're going to the stone.
Death Stone. I kind of look at her and like, we're not going to the stone. Our
Yes, we
parents
are.
are dead. You know
No,
this.
they're not. He could still be alive.
They're not alive, and you need to grow up. And with that, I go to bed.
And Palm, of course, would be stung by that comment. She'd roll over.
He's
Be
going
mad
to
at
bed.
him. Give him the cold shoulder for like 5 days.
I turn back towards Calder, and thank you for filling us in on some of your past. May I ask you one more thing? That ring on your right hand, it seems a lot different than the others. Where did you acquire that?
Well, he will sort of stare at it and look it over for a little bit and say, it was something I crafted myself. Spent a brief bit of time working as a jeweler. Someone brought in a pretty impressive gem one day. And so the gem set in there. And I decided that I would make an equally impressive ring setting and ring for it. Man had no one for it, said that the gem brought him nothing but bad luck. I gave him some coin for it, and he left all the happier.
It seems you might be destined for bad luck as well from the bandits that captured you.
He'll smile half-heartedly and say, "Yeah, it could be a sign of bad luck. Who knows? I don't put too much into it. Luck, that is."
So, well, Father Crow would stand up and would bow to him respectfully. And he would go back to tend to the wounded and say, and before he does that, he'd kind of turn his head and say, "I'll take first watch tonight if you want to get some sleep."
He will nod, and he'll actually he'll lay down by the fire and begin reading a book. As you begin tending to the wounded.
Palm is too busy, like, rolled over and ignoring Pin and everyone else to care. So she's all pissed off. This Pin is an asshole.
I think this is a good point for a quick break. We'll be back at 7:51. See you guys then.